I'm playing with junk again. This time I have an EMC disk storage system. It's a CX3-80, and that's a storage system that supports up to 480 disk drives in more than one rack, of course. Well, let's see what's inside here. But before I take it apart, I will turn it on and take it apart after that. Let's see how it looks. The controllers have their own standby power supply, which is more or less something like a UPS with batteries inside. This has a certain purpose, I will explain a little bit later. Each box here has its own controller. It's here. Each box takes 15 drives, and here the LEDs here say this is loop number 0. No, it's not right. It's loop number 7 at the moment. That's because the controller hasn't booted. That means it's the fiber bus number 0. And the unit number is here in blue, unit number 0. This one has unit number 4, this one has unit number 2. And as long as there are some yellow LEDs blinking, the controller hasn't booted yet. Here's the front side with the discs. You can see there are a lot of yellow LEDs lighting. That's because the controller hasn't booted yet, and it boots from the first 5 drives here. In fact, only from the first 4 drives. The 5th drive is a spare drive in case that one of these drives fails. It automatically rebuilds the data to the spare drive. And you see now, controller is booting, and more disks are going green. Well, one problem is this system isn't configured correctly, so I just hooked up some cables and made it run. But it has some configuration problems, and not all the yellow LEDs will extinguish. So I switched it off to reduce the noise a little bit. You can see how old this device is. We have 73 gigabyte drives, all of them. We have 146 gigabyte drives here. That was about state of the art when this system here came on the market. It is now obsolete. You can have much more storage in much less space. Well, let's see what's behind the doors. So the first thing are the power supplies, the standby power supplies, as they are called. There are two of them. This is one, there is the other, were the controllers, and the first box of the disks with the boot drives are attached to. This SPS are connected via a serial cable here. They communicate with the controllers, and the purpose of that is the power down sequence from EMC. So there is no shutdown command. There's nothing you have to do on a console, but you simply switch the SPS off. They will tell the controller that the power is off and they have to shut down. The controllers then do a regularly shutdown. They save all the cache data on the disks. They shut down. It's some kind of Windows. It's a storage, Windows storage system that is in the background here. And when the controllers are shut down correctly, they tell the UPS to switch off the power, which will be done within 2 minutes if everything works. And that's how to shut down that unit, or to power it up. You first power up all the drives or the drive boxes here, and then you switch on the power supplies for the controllers and they will boot and everything will go all right. So let's have a look inside. Well, after removing the front plate and the front attachment frame, we can lose the screws here and slide this forward and take it out from this side. They are quite heavy, filled with lead batteries. It's about 29 kilos, it says on the sticker. And that's inside the SPS, the standby power supply. Well, as you can see, the batteries are cracked. That's the reason why it doesn't work correctly. These batteries, when they have a certain age, about 5, maybe 6 years, they start to create gas and they expand and sometimes they crack. And the good thing is they are dry gel batteries, they don't leak. There is no danger that some acid leaks out. The electronics here is not too big. This is a 2200 watt UPS. It has a very simple electronic board because it puts out 250 volt DC, not AC. So all the AC generation electronics like sine wave, generators, filters and so, we don't need that. The reason is that most switched power supplies would work on DC if they receive 250 volt or 100. Yeah, no, with 110 it wouldn't work because they have a voltage doubler inside. But if you give them 250 volt DC, that just passes the rectifier, it charges up the first filter cap and everything works. Maybe some power supplies would have a problem with the input filters, but these power supplies are made to work with AC and DC, and that's why we have a DC power supply here. What do we have here? Fans. That's the controller box here. 2 fans, 3 fans, and 4 fans. Relatively big ones. Then we have power supply. That's only for the controller box, one of them. Okay, that's not much interesting. How much power does it have? 42 amps on 12 volt, 42 amps on other 12 volt, another 20 amps and another 6 amps. Total 1200 watt. Redundant, we have a second one. That's still 1200 watt. But in case that one fails, we have the second one right there. The controllers themselves are of course redundant too. We have storage processor A and storage processor B. They pull out like that. First of all, there are 2 I/O cards, fiber channel I/O cards. They can be removed separately. I have a nice big connector here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 fiber channel buses that go up to the disk enclosures. Then we have 2 Xeon processors. I don't know which type or which model is here, but I like the copper heat sinks. They are massive. Give a few bucks only for the copper. Then we have some RAM that is used for caching the disk data. PC2 3200R, like registered. It's 1 gigabyte. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gigabyte of RAM. That should be enough to cache some data, and of course for the operating system too. This is more or less like a server board. It has IOs, it has serial ports, it has a clock battery, it has RAM, it had 2 processors. Well, that's about it, and of course we have 2 of them. Here on the disk modules we have full redundancy 2. We have power supply 1 and the second one here. Then we have 2 input modules, disk controllers. One goes to controller A, the other one to controller B. If one fails, the other controller can handle the disks. If one controller fails, no problem, all disks are accessible. We have here a power supply. It says 400 watt maximum. That's only for the disks, only for this one shelf with 15 drives. Then we have one of the I/O cards. They look like that. We have 2 I/O ports. Well, it's one input and one output port. You go in from the controller, go out to the next shelf, and you can have up to 5 disk shelves on one bus. Each one with 15 drives, and the absolute total number of drives is 480. Now, depending what drives you use, you get quite some terabytes of storage. So everything goes to this chip here and the one which is under the heatsink, and then the fiber channels go out to the disk through those connectors here. They are called fiber channel, but it's not necessarily an optical fibers. You can also have fiber channel on electrical contacts. Fiber channel is just the name of the protocol. So there is a little bit more of electronic here. That's the back plane where the discs are connected to from the other side. And here are the discs. 3.5-inch discs with a fiber channel disc connector here. That looks like a SCSI connector, but it's much smaller. And the rest of the disc, beside of a different I/O chip, it looks like a normal hard disk. Has 73 gigabytes only. Focus, you fuck. Yeah, it works. And we have a lot of discs here. And unfortunately, this all goes to scrap because nobody needs that anymore. It's too big, too heavy, consumes too much power and is not fast enough, and well, you know, all that stuff. Well, it's quite some gigabytes here, 146 each. There are some empty, some space to expand, and of course the EMC logo. They have written this with the 2 square here because the company name is actually EMC Corporation, but they thought it would look a little bit like Albert Einstein's formula, E equals mc square. So they made EMC, and the number 2 up there just means there is a second C. Some funny details. Okay, what else do we have? Maybe some power cables. That's the American high power. How many amps? 16 amps? 30 amps, okay, 30 amp plug. A little bit difficult to get here in Europe. Certainly not a problem if you live in the United States. With the corresponding receptacle, goes in, you turn it over and it locks. That's not a bad idea. We here in Europe, of course, use the CEE plug, the European standard plug. This is the version with 3 connectors, and it's made for 32 amps, so it fits. No, that's not a 32 amp. Is that a 32? It looks like a 16 amp one. Okay, it says 32, must be right. The power is then distributed by this main switch, which is accessible through the back panel here for in case of an emergency, if your system is on fire. We have 2 outputs. One goes to the power strip here, and the other one goes to the upper power strip. And of course we have the same stuff on the other side. Full redundancy, 2 power connectors. Everything is there twice so in case that one fails, everything will work. There is no single point of error. Well, I think that's about it. Let's put it on the ramp to the other systems for the recycling man to get it and to shred it into tiny little pieces. Well, that's it. That's life. And after a couple of years, all the computers go that way. We can sell that. Nobody would ever pay any money for this, because these systems are simply obsolete and they are throwing out them everywhere. You can have one for free if you know persons who work in the business. But I think it's nothing to put in your home, because your power bill will certainly increase. Okay, thanks for watching.